Commission meeting, April 23rd, 2019. Roll call, please.
Chairman Cox.
Here.
Vice Chairman Rajaratnam.
Here.
Commissioner Dehan.
Here.
Okay. And Commissioner Ferris is absent. 3 present. We have a quorum.
Would you all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Officer Booth, would you lead us, please? To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Be seated. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Chairman Cox.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Rajaratnam.
Aye.
Commissioner Dehan.
I'll abstain since I wasn't here.
2 ayes. Motion carries.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Chairman Cox.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Rajaratnam.
Aye.
Commissioner Dehan.
Abstain.
Okay. 2 ayes. Motion carries.
We come to the portion for public comment. Public comment is items that are not on the agenda. Persons wishing to address the Commission on matters that are within the Commission's jurisdiction and do not already appear on the agenda may do so at this time. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the Planning Commission may not take action on an item that does not appear on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes. The public comment section of the agenda is limited to an hour. Each speaker is asked to give his name and address. We'll now open it up for public comment. Seeing a rush to the podium, we will close the public comment at 6:03 and move on. This is a continuation of a public hearing that was last month, and so I'd like to reopen this public hearing at 6:03. We will start with an abatement, 712 West Sonia Avenue, abatement of the property location at 712 West Sonia Avenue, APN 067-43301. Staff report.
This abatement is for 712 West Sonia, APN 067-43301. Property owners Will and Joyce Carey at that address. RMC ordinance violation 20-8.11C3. Yard requirements. Garages and carports taking direct access from the street shall provide a minimum of 20 feet of parking space between the structure and the front or street side of the property line. On March 27, 2018, case 18-1050 was initiated due to a carport having been installed in the front yard of the property without a permit and in violation of the above Ridgecrest Municipal Code. The carport was purchased on September 28, 2017 and subsequently installed by California All Steel Carports, Fresno, California. A violation letter was mailed to the property owners requesting they obtain a permit for the carport installation and, if denied, to remove the carport from the front of the property. The property owners submitted a variance application to the Planning Commission in an attempt to not have to remove the carport from the front of their property, scheduled for June 26, 2018. On June 7, 2018, I interviewed Mr. Mark Abatoy, the salesman who sold the Carries the carport. Mr. Abatoy provided a copy of the sales contract, which specifically states in bold letters that it is the customer responsibility for obtaining local permits, conveyance searches, right-of-way, or setback restrictions. It was also noted that Mr. Abatoy did not have a business license to sell products in the city of Ridgecrest, or did California All Steel Carports. On June 13, 2018, Mr. Abatoy was issued an administrative citation for violation of RMC 6-4, business license required. On June 14, 2018, another admin citation was issued and mailed to the owner of California All Steel Carports, Ms. Florencia T. Chavarria in North Carolina, for violation of RMC 6-4 and RMC 9-1.1, building permit required. Both individuals subsequently paid the fines imposed. On June 26, 2018, the Planning Commission met and heard testimony on the variance requested by the property owners to keep their carport. However, the variance was denied and the carport must be removed. According to Mr. Carey, they will appeal the decision to the City Council in the near future. On June 28, 2018, contact was made with the City of Fresno Business License Office. They advised California All Steel Carports contractor license is 1010394. According to the Contractor State License Board, the license is for C51 steel structural. And they have a contractor bond in the amount of $15,000 and reportedly have no workers' compensation, as they certified they have no employees at this time. I also contact the Contractor License Board, who advised me complaints must come from the individual who hired the contractor, who must fill out and submit licensed and unlicensed project complaint and building permit complaint forms. Both forms were provided to Mr. Carey at his home. He was advised to fill out both forms in as much detail as possible and submit them to the board as soon as possible. Carport issues in Ridgecrest were discussed by the Infrastructure Committee and another by the Planning Commission on January 22, 2019. Based on their decision, city staff determined that the carport located at 712 West Sonia Court must be removed. On January 25, 2019, a letter was mailed to the property owners advising that their carport must be removed or a contractor obtained to remove the carport within a verified starting date no later than February 28, 2019. March 4, 2019, I inspected the property and the carport had not been removed as requested. The same date, I mailed a notice of pre-abatement public hearing to abate property letter to the property owners advising if they do not remove the carport by April 16, 2019, the case will be presented to the Planning Commission on April 23rd for abatement authority. It was noted there was a for sale sign on the carport and numerous ads have been placed in the swap sheet as well. On April 1st, 2019, I contacted Mr. Carey and provided him the name address of a storage yard where he could store the carport once it's disassembled, where they only charge $1 a foot of space taken per month. I advised him I highly recommend he remove the carport himself. Otherwise, if the city does it, it will be removed and likely disposed of, as well as costing him much more than if he had someone else remove it. April 10, 2019, I contacted Christian Andresen, enforcement representative, Contractor State License Board, Bakersfield, who stated they have sent California All Steel Carports several letters for them to contact her. However, they have so far not responded. She stated if this continues, it may result in them having their contractor's license revoked, and advised they can only suggest the Careys be refunded the cost of the carport and that they remove it from the property. She also apologized for the case taking so long, however, claimed that she had a huge backlog of cases. April 15, 2019, Mr. Carey contacted me requesting more time. He stated he and his wife have filed paperwork to claim damages against California All Steel Carports bond. However, it would take several weeks. Mr. Carey added he had contacted a contractor to get an estimate to remove the carport, which amounted to over $2,000. I advised Mr. Carey I could not extend the date of removal and recommend he testify to the Planning Commission regarding his ongoing issues against California All Steel Carports, and they are present today. Order of abatement to be conducted by the property owner, the complete removal of the carport in the front of their property, that the abatement be completed, or notification obtained by the code enforcement officer that the services of a contractor have been obtained and verified to remove the carport no later than 9 May 2019. Oops, sorry about that.
Thank you. That's it?
That's it.
Heather? Anything? Commissioner comments?
I have a series of questions. One of them, I think some of them you can address. First, I wanted to say thank you, Officer Booth, for going, I think, the extra mile and pursuing this with Mr. Abatoye, with the contracting license. I know that's a lot of homework, and I appreciate you being relentless in pursuing that. So one of the things is you said that both individuals had paid the fines imposed. What were those fines, and were they paid just like to Kern County, or?
No, they were administrative citations, and a company down below processed them for him. The one for Mr. Abatoy was a $150 fine. The one for the owner, since they had 2 counts, was $250 fine.
Okay. And that was administrative fines from the city of Ridgecrest, or from?
Yes,
Okay.
City of Ridgecrest.
Okay. And then also, we said that Mr. Carey said he would make his appeal to the city council in the future, and perhaps they want to comment on this later. To your knowledge, has that appeal been made to city council? Because I have not heard of it.
I don't believe so.
Okay. And then in regards to the contractor's license, when you inquired about it and they saying that they didn't have any employees at that time, what did you make of that?
Well, I suspect what they do is they subcontract out the installation of these carports.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the Careys didn't have a name or a license plate of who did it, so I wasn't able to go to him. I'm sure he was out of town.
Okay. And then do we know if the forms that were given to Mr. Carey were filled out?
Yes, they were submitted.
Okay. And then we can ask them later about what the results of that were. I have in front of me, I was a little confused on the infrastructure committee because we did not discuss that January 22nd. I have the agenda in front of me. The meeting we did discuss it at was September 27th, 2018. And because the January 22nd meeting, we discussed mainly lighting and landscaping issues. At the September 27th, 2018 meeting, we went over the carports that were not in adherence. And I'm a little bit disturbed because I'm like, I don't remember this, that we had come to the agreement at that meeting that their carport must be removed. At least maybe that's my impression of how, because I was at that meeting. And I remember mainly discussing at that meeting all of the carports that were not within compliance with municipal code. So I think that should be redacted from the testimony as inaccurate.
That's fine with me.
Okay. Do we know if any, and this is probably again for Mr. and Mrs. Carey, if it's been sold yet, if there's been any offers on it, to your knowledge, you know?
They would be able to
Okay.
talk about that.
And then I think my other questions would be for them in terms of when they were asking more time, if there was any specifics, as well as when you spoke with the contracting case, Kristen, I believe is her name, how much longer she thought that one might be. It sounded like it could be indefinite.
Yeah, unfortunately, since they're pretty much an administrative type board, they send letters and say, please contact us. And if they don't, what they'll end up doing is just revoking their license, and they won't be able to sell them at all.
Okay. Those are all the questions I have right now. Thank you very much.
I want to hear what Mr. and Mrs. Carey want.
Well, I want to ask a question. Is it American All Steel? What is the company that sold it?
Mr. Abatoy was their salesman. So
No,
yes.
not the salesman, but the company. California All Steel. Did they get a city business license or just pay the fine?
From what I understand, they sent the information down, but they never did pay it, so they don't have one yet.
And this Mr. Abatoy?
No, matter of fact, he passed away a couple of months ago.
Oh, did he? So still no business license, correct?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't have any problem with removing some of those things. In infrastructure, what it was that I remember, I went back to my notes too, but the decision, because we have a public that attends that as well, and then there's 2 commissioners and 2 city council, is they were more interested in just whatever is in the front yard because of the easements. But then we went in and decided that we couldn't cherry pick, and that's when the city manager looked at all unpermitted structures that were out there, and that's what was brought to us as the commission. So the recommendation there was to enforce the front setback and the public utility easement, or to not change the municipal code. Anyway, that's the questions I have. So at this point, I'd like to turn this time over to the public for comment relating to this matter.
Hello, I'm Joyce Carey. This is my husband, Will Carey. We live at 712 Sonia Avenue. And this is in reference to the carport over our driveway. We understand that it has to come down. That's not an issue. That's not why we're here today. We understand it has to come down. But what we're here today for is to ask for more time in dealing with this. We have submitted the paper to the contractor state license board as they requested. We have filed a claim against California All Steel Bond, and our attorney has submitted paperwork to California All Steel also. So we're just asking for a little more time with this to try to not mess up any legal situations dealing with this carport. You know, we understand it has to come down, so it's coming down. We're just asking for a little more time to see where it's going to go with dealing with California All Steel.
Well, let me ask you a question. So whether or not the contractor's license board takes action or you get a reimbursement or anything else won't affect whether or not the carport comes down, correct?
That's not necessarily true, because if we take this thing down and put it someplace, and then the California State Board says that the company has to reimburse us and take it down, we're out of luck. We paid $10,000 for this thing,
Right.
and we cannot afford $10,000 just to go up in smoke. So what we need is some more time.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. If it comes down, it has no effect on your claim
Why doesn't it?
because they put it there illegally. Okay, so whether it's still standing or it's down. And so my suggestion is probably this. I see the $2,000. My suggestion is whether or not you could get your church group to get together and take it down. They're not that sophisticated. And take it down and put it in storage.
This one is, though. It's pretty sophisticated. Because, like I said, we tried to get the best thing we could. We thought we was doing the right thing. So
Sure.
we tried to do the best thing that we could. And we got a beautiful carport. And, but, it's an eye of the beholder. Some people don't like it. Now, what we did was we tried our best. We went around and talked to some people and all of that stuff. But and all those people were for it, all but one. And we didn't even talk to him because he was out of town. But anyway, what we need is time so that we can try to at least get some of our money back.
Thank you.
Mrs. Carey, so you said you needed more time. So what do you mean by that? Are you talking about 1 month more or 2 months more? We need to be very specific about that. So
Hopefully that they're going to be done talk to us in a month. Because that's what they put. Our attorney put deadlines on it, and there's been deadlines put on it. But I know that our carport is the main situation here. They
Yeah.
want to they want ours down, so we're going to take it down. But we do need time.
Yeah, I understand that, and thank you very much for cooperating in this issue. But so you are asking for 1 month at a time, or
Yeah, yes.
1.5 months, or what is in your mind?
I would say 2 months. This is a legal situation. You know as well as I know how legal things can carry out. So I would say 2 months. If we haven't gotten something from them to say California All Steel is going to be liable, they're going to have to come do something, we'll pull it down. It'll just come down, and we'll just have to deal with whatever from that point on.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
But I do have paperwork that I would like to give you for you to see that we have put stuff in action. We're not just sitting, not doing anything, not ignoring you. We are trying.
Sure.
Has your attorney been able to say anything in regards to whether if you did contract for the $2,000 to get it taken down, could they put that in with the fees to be reimbursed by the company? Has he given you any? Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
That would be something you'd want to discuss with them, because that would be a loss to you.
And here's dated April 5th of this 2019 from Kristen Andreasen, the investigator on this case, saying, I will be in contact with you within 60 days. So I think if we did, 60 days from now is reasonable that they would have a refund is what they're trying to get them information on.
Any other commissioner comments? Solomon?
No.
Okay, so at this time, I will close the public comment period. Seeing no others have come up. And I will entertain a motion. All right, I will give a motion. I will move that we abate the property and give them a 60-day extension. If it is not removed at the end of that date, that it will be removed by abatement.
Second.
Now, I am suggesting that you could get, some kids at church, teenagers, to undo that sheet at a time and put it down and cost you a lot less than hiring a contractor, and that's just my suggestion. So, you've had a year where my suggestion is another 60 days if the commission approves it. So I don't know that I would necessarily wait till 60 days is over and then feel like you're in crisis management, because it does not affect your suit at all. And you might do it at your convenience is what I'm really saying. So that's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Chairman Cox,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Rajaratnam,
Aye.
Commissioner Dehan,
Aye.
3 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you very much for your cooperation,
Thank you.
but also your kindness here, too, as well.
Just one more quick thing. This is the update on the last abatement I did on the trees at 1227 North Randall. This is what it looks like before. This is what it looks like now.
Oh, wow.
And I was able to get the total price of just a little bit over $2,000. Put a lien on the house. I'm not going to affect her taxes whatsoever.
That's terrific. And thanks. Just as Commissioner DeHaan said, thanks for that extra effort. I'd like to look for options and alternatives to not make this as painful as it has to be.
Agreed.
All right. Thank you, sir. Moving on, we have a tentative parcel map 12325, a consideration of an application for a tentative parcel map 12325, a subdivision of 8.1 acres into 2 parcels, APN 479-01014. Staff report.
This land division, Sorry. This land division consists of the previously approved site plan review, 17-06, general plan amendment 17-01, zone change 17-01, and a development agreement for the project known as Red Rock, located on South Down Street and Bowman. The site plan review contained conditions of approval. Condition 12 required consolidation of the parcels through a lot merger, lot tie, or parcel map. This application for tentative parcel map 12325 complies with that condition. This hearing was also continued from the March agenda. The application is for consideration of division of 8.1 gross acres into 2 parcels for the initial phase of the Red Rock project. Parcel 1 of tentative parcel map 12325 consists of 2.3 acres, and parcel 2 consists of 5.8 acres. This map will enable the developer to begin phase 1 of the Red Rock project. This is the site plan that shows phase 1. Staff would recommend that the Planning Commission approve the map. And the developer is here.
Commissioner comments?
I have no problem with this request, but I have a couple of questions. What is the reason behind this request? I mean, why did this come to us at this time now?
Mr. Whitten?
Daryl Whitten with Cornerstone Engineering, and before I get started, I want to give you my apologies for not showing up at the last meeting. I got it in my brain somehow that we were going to meet on Thursday night, and then Tuesday rolled around and I completely flaked out. So
How was dinner?
It was
Just
great.
teasing.
Anyway, Commissioners, the purpose of this parcel map is strictly to facilitate the financing of phase 1 of these apartments. So when the developer goes to secure lender financing, he doesn't want to encumber the whole parcel. He only wants to encumber the phase that's being financed. That's the only reason.
Does this have to do with the changing of the zoning and that there's 2 owners still, isn't there,
No.
of the property?
I don't know if there are or not.
This parcel is owned by one owner. The other parcel,
Right, but I'm talking about the whole project.
whole project is 2 owners.
Yeah.
Okay,
But this is strictly to deal with phase 1.
thank you. Any other questions?
So they still plan to do the lot line adjustment for the 2 parcels, Mr. Whitner, or you are not aware of that?
Well, I'm assuming that when they get to phase 2, they're going to need another parcel, and that's when they'll adjust the lot lines so that phase 2 is on the second parcel, and then phase 3 will be on the third. So we'll do a lot line adjustment at that time to adjust for the 3-phase project.
Any other questions? Commissioner DeHaan?
No.
I don't either.
I have one request. I
Yes,
noticed
sir.
that the time allowed for the approval of the map is blank, and so I'd request 36 months if that's allowed by the city ordinance.
I'm sorry, where?
In the conditions at the bottom of page 1, right below community development, it says the below conditions must be satisfied by blank.
Okay, if you look at the note above under section 2, it says conditional approval.
Oh,
The approval follows the development agreement with a date of November 17th, 2022.
Yeah.
okay. I didn't see that. I just saw the blanks, and there's also blanks below the Public Works conditions as well. So I assume those will be filled in to match the note above.
Right, if
So
approved.
that'll be fine. So I'm fine with the conditions. I'd request that the Planning Commission approve the map in accordance with the staff recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Witten. So I'll make a motion to approve the resolution 1902.
Second?
Chairman Cox,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Rajaratnam,
Aye.
Commissioner Dehan,
Aye.
3 ayes, motion carries.
Okay, moving on. Discussion and other action items. Continued item is also an extension on tentative tract map 6679, a request by Cornerstone Engineering, Inc. on behalf of Pam Ridgecrest Venture LLC for an extension for the tract location northwest corner of Gateway Boulevard and Upjohn. Staff report.
On February 14th, 2006, PAM Companies received approval for tentative tract map TTM 6679, an 87-lot single-family residential subdivision located in R1 zone. On May the 25th, 2010, the Planning Commission approved an amended and phased map, which consisted of 88 lots, to be done in 3 phases. Actions of the State Assembly and Senate extended the life of the map through May 25th, 2018. On December the 12th, 2017, Cornerstone Engineering, acting on behalf of the developer, applied for an extension. The Commission granted an extension of 12 months. This map has been extended once and is therefore eligible for 2 additional year extensions under the City Municipal Code. Staff would recommend an approval of a 12-month extension as allowable by the RMC, but we would also request that 3 conditions be added to make it compliant with our current municipal code and general plan. And those would be annexation into the Lighting and Landscaping Maintenance District, annexation into the City Special Benefit Drainage Assessment District, and provide a funding mechanism for the outfitting, construction, and maintenance of the park and capital replacement of the park facilities.
Have you seen these additions? Okay. Do we have a problem with them at all? No. Okay, so the same question I asked you when we put it into 3-phase. If we extend it for a year, is there a likelihood that this development will go forward, or we'll hear this again in a year?
You'll probably hear it again in a year.
Well, I'd rather have honesty than sunshine, so.
Well, it's a nice infill project on a piece of land that is actually of the ones we're hearing tonight. This one, I would say, is the best candidate for moving forward because all the exterior streets, the curb gutter and paving is already in, and the sewer and water are right there. I mean, this one's a pretty easy one. The developer has actually paid us. We've already done all the engineering on phase 1. Uh-huh. He just can't get anything to pencil out on it yet. And he comes back and looks at it about once a year, and we do a cost estimate, and he tries to find a builder to team up with, and he just hasn't had any luck with it yet.
And what is he running into that's causing the pencil problems?
Well, the cost per lot comes in at about $35,000, then when you tack on the city impact fees and engineering fees and engineering, plan check, that sort of thing, his cost per lot is approaching about $45,000, and then to put a house on that, and he's not trying to build. I mean, these are small lots. He's looked at a builder down south that's doing modular homes and tried to make that work. It's just the margins are too slim to want to stick his neck out.
What's the square footage, average square footage?
I'm thinking he's looking at homes between 1,200 and 1,800 square feet.
Okay. Well, I was going to say there's so many of the lots here in the valley that are, unless it's Ridgecrest Heights, which is not improved, no improved street, no improvements really, no street lights, nothing, anywhere from $50,000 to $90,000. If a contractor wanted to buy one and build, that's what they're having to pay. So that's why I'm wondering, what's the go no go, and does he want to build on them all, or does he want to develop it out and sell them?
He would like to team up with a builder.
Okay.
He's not a builder himself, but he does actually. He is a builder, but he primarily builds multifamily projects in other parts of the state.
Okay.
And he's been sitting on this land since about 2005, paying taxes, and he'd like to do something with it. And actually, he has quite a bit invested because of the engineering.
Sure.
So, but I was not aware that lots in Ridgecrest had appreciated that much. So I'll pass that on and see if he can develop some interest in this.
Well, Councilman Mauer's subdivision, I built a home for my daughter there, was anywhere from $55,000 to $65,000. Some of them that are in the estates are anywhere from $85,000 to $100,000, which is still down here. Now you get up in College Heights, and many times are even more. So, just as a suggestion.
Right.
Okay. So.
Can I add a quick question?
Yes.
Was this builder planning on doing a park in this? Because I see the number 3, but it's right across from Upjohn Park.
Well, this has been the past staff preference to combine the drainage sump with the park. And so the idea was that we were going to have a drainage sump there and also have a park in the sump. Now, it would be my preference to have a sump with a park next to it. And I think, we can tackle that problem if the rest of the project pencils out. But having a pocket park inside a tract like this is actually a very easy, it's a good selling point. I mean, I realize there's a city park right down the street, but having a little neighborhood park where you can take your kids down and let them run around, play on the jungle gym, and in an area that's just right down the street from your house is a pretty nice amenity, and the developer wants to do it. It's not like we had to twist his arm. So. He sees that as a good selling point for the tract.
Pearson Park is just that. It's a sump. And that's why it was put there, is to collect the water. So kind of give you an example. And so they're trying to put smaller units closer to the public instead of big general places. And then they own it, they maintain it, versus, say, a city park. Any other questions? Anything from the public? So I would move to approve the extension with those 3 conditions. Do I have a second?
Second.
Chairman Cox?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Rajaratnam?
Aye.
Commissioner Dehan?
Aye.
3 ayes, motion carries.
Our second one is a tentative tract map 6676 extension consideration of a 12-month extension for this tract, 75 lots, located at the southeast corner of South Gateway Boulevard and East Upjohn Avenue, APN 343-07034. Staff report.
On February 14th, 2006, this application came before the Planning Commission for a 75-lot single-family residential subdivision consisting of 74 single-family residential lots and 1 common recreation/stormwater detention lot. Actions of the State Assembly and Senate extended the life of the map through February 14th, 2018. On January 23rd, 2018, the applicant applied to the Ridgecrest Planning Commission for approval of an extension. A motion was carried to deny the extension. The decision was appealed to the City Council, and the City Council affirmed the appeal and approved the requested extension through February the 14th, 2019.
Commissioner comments?
Why was it denied? I don't remember. I know I was there a year ago, but I'm trying to remember what it was.
Well, most of them, if at least in the time that I've been here, it's only been recently we've gone past the grace period of the economic turndown, and so they extended it for a few years, and so it was like, are we going to move forward, or are we just carte blanche continuing? So we wanted to give them a little bit more time, but back then we expressed to Mr. Whitten that there will be a limit to that, to continue to have it come back. But that's probably why it was, and I'm guessing because I don't know specifically on that one.
Mm-hmm. That sounds right.
I do have a question. The last extension was through February 14, 2019. So if you make a 12 months extension, the due date would be February 14, 2020, right? Instead of
from now.
Yeah, instead from now.
So basically what you're saying is that it has already expired.
So we have to have the continuity.
Yeah, but my preference, depending on the commission, is to give it a year from today. This is when we're hearing it. Rather than, because a default notice is never sent to them, correct?
There will be a broken period, so that's what.
It's automatically extended as long as they have applied. So if it takes us 3 months to hear it, it's extended through till we hear it.
So he's asking, will it expire February next year?
So we can make it February next year.
I would prefer it's April.
Because it has been done that way, 2/14/2009, 2/14/2010.
9, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18.
Always extended from the previous expiration period. It's up to you, so just made an observation.
And it's a good one.
Thank you.
I would say on the previous map, we've extended it based on the dates. Because this one on the 6679, the extension is through May 25th, 2019, even though we heard it now.
Is this the same builder?
Yes, the maps are very similar. This is like the twin brother of the one across the street.
So it looks like it's overlapping with the one we just approved. It's not?
No, it's catty-cornered. The one we just heard is on the northwest corner. This is on the southeast corner.
Okay.
So, any comment from the public? And if it's from a staff standpoint, right here.
Thank you. I'm Tammy Williams-Anderson. I'm the staff planner. I've been working on these extensions. And my comment about that, about what date to use going forward for a 12-month extension, would be, from the knowledge that I've gleaned from the municipal code, is that we can only provide a 12-month extension. It can be done 3 times. So the total can equal 3 years. But each time is 12 months. Therefore, it would seem that he might be getting an advantage if it was done from this time forward, as compared to other people that might be doing it in a timely manner.
Good point.
Good point. Thank you. I appreciate that. Any other commissioner comments? Anything from the public? So I would move that we approve the extension with the 3 conditions. Do you remember the 3 conditions that she gave us before? Do I have a second?
Are we extending up to 214 or what are we
To
doing?
214 of
20.
Of 20.
Okay.
Second.
Chairman Cox,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Rajaratnam,
Aye.
Commissioner Dehan,
Aye.
3 ayes, motion carries.
Well, and that's fine. I think that's right. Okay, moving on to item 3, tentative tract map 6691 extension, consideration of a 12-month extension for tract with 223 lots located in the northwest corner of the West Ridgecrest Boulevard and North Mahan Street, potential extending into the northwest corner of the West Las Flores Avenue and Mahan Street, APN 455-10006 and 455-10007 and 455-10008 and 455-10009. Staff report.
On June 23rd, 2009, Pam Ridgecrest Ventures received approval for tentative tract map 6691. It's a 223-lot single-family residential subdivision consisting I don't know what this says. Consisting of 136 lots in E1, E2, and CS zones. Actions of the State Assembly and Senate extended the life of the map through June the 23rd, 2019. Staff would recommend approval of a 12-month extension. This has not previously been extended. And we would also request those 3 extensions or those 3 conditions be added.
Thank you. Mr. Whitten, I guess it would really apply to all of them. And I personally don't care about an extension here, but what we've got, if our municipal code shows that we can grant up to 3 extensions, we see that this was originally done in 2009, and then we have a 13, 15, 17, and 19. At some point, that may become an issue for them. So it's just, it might be just something that you'd throw back to your client. And another suggestion might be for him to contact some of the local realtors and see whether or not some of the lots might be viable, see if he could get some revised numbers that he might be able to look at, because if the numbers were different, he may have different people that either want to invest or might want to partner with him. So that's just my suggestion, if he would do a little bit of that legwork. So, Commissioner, comments?
Just want to make a point, as we discussed in the previous issue. Here it is 623, and we are extending up to 623-2020. So we should follow one rule for everybody. So
Right. The expiration is 6/23 of 19 on this one. And so what we're approving is 12 months, so it would expire on 6/23/2020.
And that's what she had.
Okay, so he's just saying, let's just stay consistent with those expiration dates. Any other comments? I would recommend that we approve the extension with the 3 revisions to bring it up to current code. Do I have a second?
Second.
Did I move?
Chairman Cox,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Rajaratnam,
Aye.
Commissioner Dehan.
Aye.
3 ayes, motion carries.
We'll let you phone in too, Darrell. Unless you like the drive.
I like it.
Okay. I just wanted to give you options. All right, moving on real quick. Commissioner items, committee reports. Commissioner DeHaan has been in the reserves the last couple of months. The last couple of months in infrastructure, we have had several reports on the new paving machine and costs and start times and what they can get done. We had a report on city lighting going to digital versus what we have. We got a report on the Downs project. No decisions were made. Just reports were given. Mr. Commissioner.
CTR did not meet. Sorry about that.
Okay, so moving on, Commissioner comments?
I guess I should just, make the announcement now formally that I will be leaving after this summer, unfortunately. So I've been speaking with Lindsay about finding a replacement, so we're working on that. But I have, unfortunately, still more things that the reserves are calling me to do in June. So I won't, so I'm actually be gone May, June. July will be my last meeting here. Of course, if she finds someone sooner and they can be steady from next month, that would be great. But I will be as involved as I can until the day that I move out of Ridgecrest on July 27th.
But you can't leave till you find a replacement.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm working on it, Solomon. I'm working on it.
I do have a comment.
Yes.
Are we going to have somebody in place of Derek? Heather, do we know?
I talked to...
Because it would be nice to have 5 committee members. I mean, different opinions they can come up with. So
I talked to Councilman Heyman tonight, and he's working on it. He is willing to take suggestions and interview them, but no decision has been made as of yet.
okay. And I have another comment. Since Ms. Lundstrom is here, you don't have to make a comment, but we are giving all these extensions, and you are a real estate agent. Do you have any comment? What do you think about these things?
I think the extensions are great.
Okay.
It's a long process to get a development together and to get it built. It's a huge process. It takes years. So I'm glad you didn't turn down the extensions.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate your input.
So maybe we ought to let them know what they could get for some of these lots. I'm thinking they're way undervalued, but you would know better than me. All right. Any other items, future agenda items, Heather?
I'm sorry, I forgot to make a comment. I got so many calls today about some cell tower. So, you want to make any comment on that?
There was a public hearing notice sent out to residents within 300 feet of a property mistakenly, so we are obviously not hearing it tonight. we do expect it to be on the agenda soon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other future agenda items?
We have several tentative maps that are in the application process right now. We have a couple of extensions as well, and the conditional use permits.
What about Disneyland coming up here and doing a desert
Yes, of
water
course.
park?
Yes, of course. With lots of grass.
Okay. Staff items. You are now on the agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'd like a little bit of direction since I'm new to the city. Next month, we expect to be hearing 2 conditional use permits for 2 cell towers. One of them is a brand new tower. It has not been installed yet. One of them is replacement, so I don't have any concerns about the replacement. But the one that is going to be
Can you
new.
speak into the mic so that they can also. Are you able to hear?
Oh, my apologies.
Just a soft voice. Okay.
My apologies. So we have an anticipated conditional use permit for the May hearing. And my question to you is is your expectation of the public having a 75-foot tower in an R2 area? It's close to China Lake Boulevard, but I'm just wondering, trying to perceive if there would be some resistance to that.
The last tower that we heard was on county line, San Bernardino County line. So some of the questions that came up are, is it in a flight path? We have China Lake, that we have the hospital. We have the approach to NAS. So is it in a flight path? 60 feet is not very tall, and the restrictions are a lot less from the FAA on a 60-foot tower than a 100-foot tower.
Well, this is a 75-foot tower.
Okay. So, but the restrictions are different. And so you'll want to know what is required by the FAA. You'll want to know what is required as far as NAS is concerned. Is it going to interfere with flight plan? And interesting enough, when we did towers, we actually had to get a report and get approval. And the reports were given by a company that talked to the federal government, for example, the base, and other entities, because they were also doing frequency coordinations to make sure it wasn't interfering with anything that was currently there. Now, cell has a specific frequency, and I don't anticipate it being a problem. But we wouldn't want to come in and say, yes, you can erect a tower, and then all of a sudden it interferes with a neighbor or with somebody else. And so those are the kind of things that I would look at as a commissioner.
I guess I have been in conversation with John Kersey from the China Lake Naval Air Weapons Station.
Okay.
So that is in process. I think my concern is more related to the public that lives nearby. And
in a residential area.
Because it's in an R2 district. So that's kind of where my...
They were concerned, that's why I got so many calls, because by mistake the notice went out to
I apologize.
residents.
I take
so
I take
got
that.
so many calls this morning. Wow, how can you have it in a residential area?
So my preference is this is a business entity. I would rather see it in a business or commercial zone. Now, the caveat to that would be mindful that the FCC requires certain spacing and requirements. And if it has to be so far away from here and here and here, there could be some caveats. But I'll tell you, for me personally, the residents will have the biggest say-so here. For me. Mm-hmm. Because I wouldn't want it in my neighborhood. And if I wouldn't want it, why would I stick somebody else with it? And that's why I say I would rather see it on business property or commercial property where it's in appropriate zoning, rather than right here in my neighborhood, I'd rather have a park.
Okay.
You know, so that would be my personal thing. But I'll look at all of those things. But yeah, if I have, you know, half a dozen or a dozen or 2 dozen residents here that are saying no, I wouldn't want it in my neighborhood.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thanks. Commissioners, any other comment other than what I've said?
No, sir. You said it right.
Yeah, I agree with you that it should be in a commercial area. There's even some like debatable public health research with putting some of these cell towers near, so close to people where they're sleeping and children, and so I agree with you totally that until that research is very clear, that we should not be embedding it so closely in our communities.
Thank you, but talk to me after, okay? Lauren, staff items.
Mr. Chairman, is this microphone working?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I'm just going to give you a little update on projects and where we're at on a couple of different projects around town. Last time I reported to you, we were going to try getting started on our Down Street project and as well as Sunland Street project around the first of this month. The contractor expressed concern, however, with the current Caltrans specifications that we use. He had some concerns on the consistency of weather patterns we're in with temperature. Temperature is very critical for the use of the type of asphalt materials as specified in the Caltrans specifications. He had submitted the NOAA's historical weather records to find that towards the end of May is actually a better and more consistent and more compatible weather pattern for the type of asphalt materials as specified by Caltrans. We've looked at his request and we feel that that's probably appropriate with the sensitivity to temperature and wind conditions for that type of asphalt materials. So we have started the east side of Down Street project. We've started with the survey, the markings, utility locates. We're currently doing the curb returns at Church right now for the east side of the Down Street project. In conclusion, we are going to be probably paving towards the tail end of May. But we have started the construction on the east side of Downs. Now the Sunland project, the contractor, with the same consideration for asphaltic materials, his actual start date for breaking ground will be a little later. And we've offered him that consideration. He would like to mobilize his earth moving equipment and his major construction equipment at the same time. It's the same contractor doing both jobs, so he's asking to be efficient in his mobilization, so we've allowed him to start at a later date. We've suspended the contract on the Sunland project. We have not issued the notice to proceed until he's ready to start mobilization. So just a little update on that. I know I'd reported earlier that we were going to start earlier this month, but with his concerns with the use of the asphaltic materials we're going to use, we feel that he's justified in his request. I wanted to give you an update on some of the other projects in town. We're under plan check for Tentative Tract 6700, the Stephen Harris project. That's the one up on College Heights. That's all the graded lots that you see on the west side of College and southerly of Sunland. We're currently in plan check for grading, street improvements, and drainage improvements for that project. So it looks like we're in pretty good shape to get that approved here in pretty short order. We're also, we've just approved the grading plans for the Sunland apartment project off of Baton. So we anticipate them to be pulling a grading permit here shortly. So we should see some construction activities on that particular project. Other projects under plan check, Holiday Inn Express, we're looking at the grading plans on that. I think we're in pretty good shape on that one. Not a lot of grading that we're concerned about there, so we anticipate that plan to be approved here very shortly as well. Our Drummond CMAQ project, we're under design. That interesting fact about that is the survey work was done by a drone, and we had survey control placed along the alignment, horizontal and vertical control for controlling the digital drawing that would be prepared by the aerial photos, and it was amazing. I really enjoyed that opportunity to observe that type of survey work from a drone. It was very efficient. It'll be high resolution, very precise aerial photography, and will present I think a very detailed and high resolution set of plans for your Dolphin Street project. And that's about all I can report to you at this time.
So I see survey markers and stuff like that going on down. So when are we going to see a tractor down there? He's got a backhoe out there now. He's got a rubber-tired backhoe, and he's been doing removals, of course, for the returns on Church and in front of Mather Brothers. So that's the first order of work right now. They're just getting our concrete crew started right now to do curbs, gutters, and sidewalks. So, okay.
I might also report to you that our loaner slurry machine showed up, and the guys have been training on that. They did Graph over by Pack Wrap. They did McLean in front of Pack Wrap there between Ward and all the way to the end of the cul-de-sac to the north. Today they were doing, they started yesterday on Robertson and working on Wilson. So if you have an opportunity to go take a look at that, looks like
cool.
Pretty good. Yeah, I think the guys are picking it up pretty quick, and I think we'll see some folks, enjoy those improvements. So,
well, good. Any other questions from the commissioners?
I don't have one for Mr. Culp, but I do have a quick alibi comment I wanted to say earlier, and I forgot.
Alibi?
Sorry, it's a military term we use. I shouldn't have done that. So, is it just me? I thought the administrative fee for the two, for the business license and the $150 and $250, in comparison to what the citizens have been through, I mean, they had to pay over $1,500 just to have their variance heard and then subsequently denied. I mean, to me, that just, if we're looking at as a city, we're saying, hey, you're using our time, our resources, and I'm not saying so much even just us, but like Mr. Booth, the staff, I think that we need to consider increasing that fine, because that's a very legitimate fine to have for doing something illegal in our city.
Well, you gotta put it in context too. If you ride in the carpool lane, what is the fine? $300.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you could go through a lot of the state fines, and it's a fine. It's just a ticket. You pay the ticket. If they don't do this, and so yes, you can throw out a major punishment, but I look at some of the state fines. What's the fine for littering?
I don't remember.
Up to $1,000. So you I hear what you're saying, and I think that they should have paid a bigger penalty. Mm-hmm. But I think that I would, if you wanted, you could recommend that to your council, mm-hmm. and they could take a look at it. But I think fines in general are based to just be a slap, rather than I'm going to pull your teeth.
Yeah, that wouldn't even.
And I agree, but like yet, in all honesty, here we have a couple that were told no to build, and they chose to pay the $1,500 to appeal it to us, and so somewhere along the line, they have to assume some responsibility. It can't be the city going to battle. And truthfully, our manager really went out. Officer Booth really went out. The city council went out of their way to try and help them down that road. And I think we all feel the same misery that they feel. But also, I think they need to accept a certain amount of responsibility for that. But I agree with you. A fine should be painful enough that it gets their attention. And that's something that the council would have to look at, because we can look at the codes and the general plan, but we cannot make policy. We can make a recommendation. So I would suggest this in your time left. If you would like staff to prepare something for us to vote on and send up as a recommendation to the city council, I think that would be a worthy thing to put on our agenda, and I would support that.
Okay.
Would you like that to happen?
Yes, thank you for the recommendation.
Okay. Does the all commissioners agree?
Sure. Yeah.
So I'd like to direct staff on behalf of the commission to look at our fine process for those that are don't have a building or a business license or don't pull a building permit, that there's, these people that are coming in from out of town, the feeling is that they're not being hurt enough to pay attention. And so I'd like to look at it and maybe look and see what some of the other cities are charging for those similar kinds of violations. And maybe make a recommendation to send to city council so that we've done the hard lifting and they can either, approve it or not.
That sounds excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? And good idea.
That's all for me.
Solomon?
No, sir.
Okay. Lauren? Anything else?
No, Mr. Chairman, that's it.
Would you go home, go to bed then?
I'd be glad to.
Okay, so the time or the clock shows 7:08 or 7:13, and I call this commission to adjourn.